What's up guys, DuArktik with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are back to talk about Alliance Wars defense. This has been a topic that a lot of people have been requesting to talk about, as the meta now is changing constantly, especially with the new Alliance Wars season, Temporal Turmoil, and with the boosts and improvements to new warriors. This is a team that made a lot of changes really to Alliance Wars defense, and you can use the team together or separated and create a lot of nightmares to your enemies. So we're gonna take a look at which are the most popular teams that people are using right now, and which characters you can put together in order for you to maximize the value of your roster on defense and create the biggest amount of problems for your enemies. This is from my experience and using the information that I gather from my alliance and also all the enemy alliances that I face, and this is over like 1,000 or 2,000 different attacks and so on, all of that gathered, and at the end of the month I put all together, and it comes with a list with the teams that I have been working out the most. So that's going to be the topic that we're going to talk about in this video, give alternative options for each of those teams. And as always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure to share the video with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Mouse Strike Force content, and make sure to smash that like button like a boss. Now, something that I'm going to mention is that I'm going to make a Patreon, or already did a Patreon, and that Patreon will have a Cosmic Crucible tier and an Alliance Wars tier. If you want to have access to my spreadsheets with the counters for offense and also for defensive teams that you can use. This is also based on data that I gather from my alliance and also from other people in the community. I put all the data together. And in the past I was doing it for free, but I'm gonna be honest, it is unsustainable because it requires a lot of hours, and putting all that time and work into it and getting nothing in return was simply unsustainable. But if you want that kind of service or that kind of exclusive content, you'll be able to find the link in the description. And the updates are supposed to be scheduled weekly for Cosmic Crucible content, and for Alliance Wars content bi-weekly. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look at these teams that right now are the most popular and giving you the best defensive teams in Alliance Wars. This is quite important, as Alliance Wars, it changed from what it was in the past. In the past, the faster you would win, the better it would be for you and for your alliance, but right now it's not the case. The more defensive wins you have, the more likely is for your alliance to win. And sometimes you can even choke the enemy team and put them on a situation that they run out of offensive teams, and that means that your alliance wins just by default by having the strongest defense possible. Okay, so let's get started, and for the first team we're gonna have 4 members of the Heroes for Hire. The full team right now is not super important, you could still use the full team, but the best way of using your Heroes for Hire is using the 4 most important characters, which is going to be the ones that you see on the screen, and then add 1 additional character. There are many different versions that you can use here. The best ones is with Captain Sam, with Nick Fury, with Quicksilver, and the latest has been with Kang. Of course, you can also use Apocalypse or Super Skrull here, but those characters are better used together with other teams. So those would be the main options right now. Once again, Captain Sam, Nick Fury, Quicksilver, and also Kang. Moving on to the next team, we have Infestation, and unfortunately Infestation, you cannot hybridize this team because it requires you to have all the Infestation team, otherwise Spider-Man Big Time does not spawn with a charge. Some people have tried to hybridize this team, it simply does not work, so just keep it like this. Is this a team that you should overall invest? Probably not. It's up to you to decide if you see value on it or not. And if you want to make this team more problematic for your enemies, actually investing less on them is better. The only character you want to invest in is Spider-Man big time. And if you really invest a lot on him, yes, he can absolutely cripple your enemies, but once again, requires a huge investment and might not be affordable for everyone, as he is a dark promotion credits and dark diamond credits. But overall, this team at small sizes can create a lot of problems, and at the big sizes only if you really have your Spider-Man big time maxed out to the limit. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. Moving on to the next team is Weapon X, and Weapon X, you usually use them on offense, but this season, because of all the changes that people have been doing, they don't have a lot of value. You don't have a lot of rooms where you can use them. And because of that, you are just better off using them on defense. So this is a team, once again, that we usually use on offense, but on this specific meta, there are characters that cancel them out, and because of that, just put them on defense. They still are very strong. There are only a few teams that really counters them, and you're gonna get a decent value out of them. And next season, we'll see if they're gonna go back for offense, or if you're gonna keep them on defense as this season. Moving on to the next team, we have Hero Asgardians with Better Bill and Val. Once again, we have a team that is very hybridized, and on this team you have really a lot of options. So you can use them together like this, with Better Bill, Val, and Valkyrie. These are the three most important characters, but after that you can add different members of the team and even characters from other teams to help them out. One good combo that people are using right now is the Hero Asgardians together with the New Warriors, with especially Gwenpool to counter Wakanda, and other characters that people use, and my alliance has been very successful, is with Dormammu, because even if they kill your Valkyrie, then Dormammu revives her and she still buffs everyone, and then Val can revive it once again. So those are different combos that you're gonna be able to use with this team. And the other character that you should also consider is Mighty Thor, aka Lady Thor, because she increases the health of all Hero Asgardians, and both Better with Bill and Val are Hero Asgardians, so the more HP the better, to have a higher chance of reviving. So once again, or with other Hero Asgardians, or with Dormammu, or with New Warriors, the Hero Asgardians with Val, Better with Bill, and Valkyrie are going to give you a lot of success in Alliance Wars. Moving on to the next team, we have Hive Mind, and Hive Mind is not super great on offense, because right now we don't have a lot of teams on offense or on defense that have minions, right? If you are facing small teams in Alliance Wars, maybe they'll have some value on offense, but this is definitely something I do not suggest. And once again, you can use them together, or with New Warriors, or with American Chavez that gives speed bar to one or two for two of the characters depending on the position. And you can also use Hive Mind together with Dormammu, or together with Super Scroll, any character that allows them to go faster, have more health, and give damage to the enemies is going to definitely impact the success of this team. You can still use them as a whole, they can still cause you some problems. You can also use them together with the Tango Web, and those are going to be the best combos for your Hive Mind. So once again, Hive Mind with Tango Web, Hive Mind with the New Warriors, Hive Mind with Super Scroll, and Dormammu. Moving on to the next team, we have Infinity Watch, and Infinity Watch, people still use them on offense, but right now you have some benefits of having them on defense, and this is once again because of the season of Alliance Wars that we are going through right now, because all the Hero Cosmic characters will have bonuses on defense. So that means Gamora, Phyla-Vell, Adam Warlock, and Moon Dragon will have more stats, and because of that they will be more efficient on defense. You also have the base stats from Alliance Wars defense, the more health, more damage, and so on. Only Nebula gets a little bit shafted because she is a villain, but because she can revive, it's not a super big deal. So right now, this is the best use for you to do with your Infinity Watch, is just to have them on defense, and make sure that one of your opponents is not like a super user to face them, or to force your opponents to use Wakanda, War Dogs, some of those decent teams against them. Moving on to the next one, we have Darkhold. Darkhold on defense, it really depends on which teams or which character you are using as the fifth. You can use many options. You can use Apocalypse, you can use Quicksilver, you can use a pre-taunting tank like Red Guardian or Absorbing Man. You can also use Dormammu, you can also use Rhino, and depending on which character you put here, you are going to cancel out certain counters. So for example, if you put Rhino, then you are cancelling out the counter of the Underworld. If you put a pre-taunting tank, then you are, depending on which tank it is, you might be creating some problems for other teams. And then you can go with a nuclear option and put Apocalypse or Super Skrull and force your enemies to use a very powerful team against Darkhold, which is not like the top of the meta when it comes to Alliance Wars, but with that specific character, then it really becomes a dangerous situation. So those are the best options for you to use with your Darkhold. Moving on, we have Secret Defenders, and the Secret Defenders specifically with Apocalypse and American Chavez is very, very strong, but you can also use the Secret Defenders with New Warriors, you can use the Secret Defenders with Dormammu, you can use Secret Defenders with Tangle Web. There are different combos that you can use with them in order to increase their value and force different counters against them. Depending, once again, if you are going to use one of those big characters like Apocalypse and so on, you are going to counter specific teams like the Underworld, like Sinister Six and so on, and make very, very difficult for your opponents to win against it. So once again, we have another very hybridized team that, depending on your goals and depending on the rest of your defense, you might want to introduce or Apocalypse or some other character in order to force your opponents to use certain characters. You can also use a pre-taunting tank. You can also use a Super Skrull. That's a very combo as well. And with Hardlight, Black Cat, and Robbie Reyes, it's really going to force your opponents to use a decent team. In terms of Photon should be used on offense, not on defense, so keep that in mind. Don't make that mistake, because Photon is just better to use together with the A-Force. Now we have the new Avengers. New Avengers, they can be used on offense. They are very strong on offense because they allow you to use them against a team that spawns with a speed bar. So on offense, they're going to be very strong against teams that spawn with speed bar, like for example Weapon X. But on defense, they are also very strong because they also cancel out characters that get speed bar on spawn. Now, this team has a little bit of a leeway for you to have hybridization of this team. You should keep these 4 characters: the Coulson for the early attack, the Ronin for the trauma, the Tigre for the taunts, the speed bar, or the extra speed, the extra health, everything else, and Mockingbird for flipping negative effects, more speed, more health, and so on. So unfortunately, you only have 1 slot, and you can use the full team. You can use the thing here, the full team is fine. But if you want to really take this team to the next level, you can put here or Kestrel or Dormammu, you can put here Apocalypse, you can put here Super Skrull, and you can also put here one of the new warriors. I would recommend or Firestar or Deadpool, because they have the most effect against the best counters that you can use against this team, or against the Superior Six or Sinister Six combos, or against the Nowhere team. And those are going to be the best options for you to use. Moving on to the next team, we have the X-Men, Extreme X-Men. So this is going to be Nightcrawler, Gambit, Forge, and Rogue. And depending on, once again, what you want to use with this team, which counters you want to pull from your enemies, you can use here Apocalypse for extra health and damage. You can use here Sunspot for a softer count. Or you can use, for example, here Super Scroll. A lot of people are using Super Scroll here, and there are a few other options that you can use as well. This is going to force your opponents to use the powerful teams, and because this is a raid team, a Cosmic Crucible team as well, it's very likely for you to face a very big team. And depending on the size, counters like Underworld or A-Force might not be able to be big enough to counter them. For example, Weapon X in the past used to be able to counter them, but right now, because they are so popular in Cosmic Crucible and Alliance Wars, they reach the size of 3 million plus, and the Weapon X just having value in Cosmic Crucible does not allow you to invest so much on them to counter them in Alliance Wars as well. So this is definitely a great team for you to use, and especially if you have them at a very big size. And finally, we have the new warriors. Once again, you can use them together. This is the team that this season has a big boost in Alliance Wars, but like I said throughout the video, you can use them together with all of these other teams as well. As a one piece, as a two piece, or even as a three piece, you can slot them on the different teams that we talked about so far in this video, and increase the value of these teams. So for example, once again, with the new Avengers, you could add a Firestar or Deadpool. So if the enemies are using like Mysterio, and that is going to allow you to increase the value with Deadpool or with Firestar, because you are killing all those minions and you are applying also more bleeds to your enemies. Then for example, on a Hive Mind, you can use Cloak and Dagger to apply those early blinds to your enemies so they cannot attack your Hive Mind, and gives you additional speed bar to attack them. With Heroes Guardians, you can add here Gwenpool to have a pre-taunting tank. She's not really pre-taunting, but she goes very fast, faster than Battery Bill, and that will protect your Val and your Valkyrie from different attacks. So yeah, those are going to be the best way to use your new Avengers in the season of Cosmic Crucible. So those are the best teams that you can use right now for Alliance Wars defense. These teams come once again from tons and tons of results from my alliance and from the alliances that we have been facing in Alliance Wars. This is at the top 100 level of Alliance Wars, so this is really the best of the best. And in the near future, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm gonna probably make an infographic with all these teams and all the different alternatives that you can put for each of the slots that we mentioned throughout this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button, and if you found the video helpful, make sure you share this video with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Mouse Strike Force content, and I'll catch you guys later.